The General Theory of Systems by Robert Johansen. There are two kinds of systems because there are two different definitions of a system. There are elemental systems, where a system is defined as the pattern of relationships between a number of elements. The elements are considered real, and the system is merely an aspect of the elements, thus physics, chemistry, and mathematics. On the other hand, you have holistic systems, where a system is a boundary that separates the universe into the system and its environment. Wholes have parts that take their identity from the whole. For example, the lung is a part of the body. Outside the body, the lung is just dead meat. Holistic systems are hierarchical. They form a holarchy. As a whole is made up of parts, so each of the parts is a whole to its own parts. Arthur Koestler coined the term holon to describe this dual quality of wholes. Since wholes are logical categories, they also intersect to form complex wholes. There are two different definitions of systems because there are two different aspects of reality, body and mind. Body, of course, is made up of matter and energy, atoms, molecules, forces, etc. Mind, on the other hand, is made up of ideas, decisions, information, communication, conversations, in fact, most of human life. Now, there are basic units. The basic unit of the body is atoms, and the basic unit of the mind is information. Now, the technical definition of information was developed by the engineers at Bell Labs, and they developed a simple definition. Information is a message selected from a set of possible messages. Thus, if you have a number of possible messages, say the alphabet, if you choose one, say the M, the choice is the information. Now, the basic unit of choice is the binary choice, either or. This choice is the basis of Boolean logic. It is symbolized by the Venn diagram, where the choice is represented by a line, separating the X from the not X. It can also be used to diagram the syllogisms in traditional Aristotelian categorical logic. Thus, X or not X, the basic binary choice. Thus, holistic systems are a function of information, thus the system or the environment. Now, any complex choice can be coded as a series of binary choices, usually symbolized by 1 and 0. You can calculate the number of binary digits or bits needed to code a set of possibilities by taking the logarithm to the base 2 of the number of possibilities. Thus, with 26 letters in a space, we have log 227 equals 5 bits. Thus, using the binary either or as our basic unit of information, we can count the amount of information by counting the number of bits it takes to code it. Thus, A equals 00000, B equals 00001, C equals 00010, etc. This is the basis of modern computing, where the computer is a chip with transistors that can be used as a gate, either open or closed. Thus, the binary code becomes a series of transistor positions. Computers are programmed with Boolean logic. Possibilities and probabilities. Since both information and statistical probabilities are calculated from a set of possibilities, there is often confusion about the difference. Some people even think that information is a probability function. The difference is that information is measured in bits and probabilities are measured in fractions. Thus, a coin, if you flip a coin, there are two possibilities, heads or tails. So looked at it in terms of probabilities, what is the probability of heads? It is 1 out of 2, or 0.5. And the probability of tails is 1 out of 2, or 0.5. Probabilities are a fraction. Information, on the other hand, is measured in bits. So the head would be coded as 1, and the tail could be coded as 2. 1 or 0, 1 bit. Communication is translation. Since information is choice within a set, communication consists of translating choices in one set of possibilities into choices in another set. In other words, coding. Thus, the choice of ideas in my mind is translated into a choice of words, which becomes a choice of sounds. Now, those sounds you perceive as a choice of words, which you translate into a choice of ideas. Or if we look at a telegraph, the choice of words is translated into a choice of letters of the alphabet, which is translated into a choice of Morse code, which is translated into the choice of electrical pulses, which is translated into the choice of clicks in the receiver. Although information consists of choices in a set and has no meaning as such, the meaning is in the reference. Thus, the map is not the territory, but the territory is the meaning of the map. Thus, the clicks mean electrical pulses, which mean Morse code, which mean letters, which mean words, which mean ideas. The study of information and control is called cybernetics. The term cybernetics comes from the Greek word kyberneo, which means to steer, to guide, or to govern. In plain English, it is the theory of control. We are all familiar with the basic control process. Act, you do something. Sense, you see how it turned out. Evaluate, you compare the results to what you wanted. And choose, you choose another action to bring it closer to your goal. And then you act, you do something else. Thus, you have the cybernetic control loop. Act, sense, evaluate, choose. These 4 basic processes form a loop. Any control process consists of going around this basic control loop. We can use the box as a symbol of the translation process and the arrow as a symbol of the information. So we get the following diagram of the translation process. Thus, action is translated by the environment into changes, which are translated by our models of the world into perception, which is translated by our values into needs, which are translated by our options into action, which again is translated by the environment into changes. Since information is a decision, it can also act as a command. The translation processes are commands about how to process information. In other words, programs. The translation processes constitute the program that controls the control process. What is real? Western materialism teaches that only matter and energy are objectively real. But most of human life, as we noted before, consists of ideas, decisions, information, communication, and conversations. If human life is defined as not real, then this is a problem, the mind-body problem. Fortunately, we have engineers, and they came up with 2 solutions. 1, the Telecommunications Solution MEDIA. Matter and energy are the media of information and communication. Thus, if you look at radio, the information starts as ideas in the medium of the brain. They then are translated into information, the waveforms in the medium of sound, which are translated into the waveforms in the medium of electricity, which are translated into waveforms in the medium of electromagnetism. Or the telegraph, the information in terms of ideas in the medium of the brain are translated into the letters of the alphabet in the medium of ink on paper, which are translated into Morse code taps on a telegraph key, which are translated into Morse code clicks of the telegraph receiver. The other solution was the cybernetic solution. Control. Information and communication control matter and energy. The brain processes information and controls the muscles which process energy. Or the thermostat processes information and controls a heater which processes energy. There are two different processes. Communication is translation, as we have noted before, and matter and energy is a constant. Therefore, matter-energy processes are expressed as equations. For example, the final kinetic energy plus the potential energy is equal to the initial kinetic energy plus the initial potential energy. Or in the famous example, energy is equal to mass times the speed of light squared. Or power is equal to energy divided by time. The two processes are related as a figure-ground gestalt. The picture shows one of the classic figure-ground examples. We can choose which is the figure and which is the ground. If you choose the black as the background and the white as the figure, then you will see two faces. If you choose the white as the background and the black as the figure, then you will see a vase. Mind and body operate in the same way. Matter and energy are the media, that is to say the background, for the figure, which is information and communication. And an example of that is paper or a screen are the media. The background for the figure, which is the information of the printed word. Or, looked at if you flip the figure-ground gestalt, and instead you'll have information and communication in the background, they control the figure, which is matter and energy. The classic example is that mathematics is the background that controls the figure, which is molecules in motion. A holistic understanding comprehends both the information process and the energy process. In 1956, Francis Crick and George Gamow enunciated the central dogma of microbiology. This states that there are two processes inside a cell, the energy processes and the information processes, and the important one is the information process. Thus, DNA. DNA is an acid. It is a molecular energy process which acts as a medium for genetic information, which controls the material development of the organism. How about predicting the future? Matter and energy are constants. Therefore, matter and energy processes are predictable. Information, on the other hand, is a decision. Therefore, information processes are only partly predictable. Program decisions are predictable, but the program can be changed. The future is not perfectly predictable because it depends on decisions that haven't been made yet.